All right, good morning. Looks like we're live. Friday, September 24th, and another week's gone by. Actually, in terms of for me at least, like I've just been kind of set it on Monday. I was gonna kind of go all cash and just start day trading a little bit. Other than a couple other plays that like CLOV that I'm gonna stay in and hold my position in. But it's been kind of a good week. A little bit yesterday or last week too. Um, and I'll go over some of that a little bit here in a second. But it's just a matter of moving with the markets. And I don't know what's happening right now, but it looks like the after having a nice rally yesterday, the SPY is actually coming back down. Um, I know we had talked about those SPY puts that I got on Monday, and I sold half. We go Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday. So I grabbed some puts here, sold half down here. Not at the bottom. I couldn't time it correctly. But I held the other half because I'm not going full bear, but I just kind of feel like this dip might be a little bit bigger than normal. It did come up and fill the gap yesterday. Um, and I was looking to exit those last half of my puts I talked about yesterday morning. If we held this above this kind of 441 mark where it filled the gap, and it looks like we're gapping down to open up below it now. So still kind of uncertain about what's going on with the market. But just got to let it play out and see what's going on. But it does look to be gapping down today. That could be good or bad. Sometimes the market gaps down and then it rallies off the open, and all of a sudden that means green days for everything as it kind of pops back, or it could be another red day. I know I don't sound like a genius right now. I'm basically saying it can go either way. But I mean that's the way it is. It's a little uncertain right now. So just kind of see how this thing plays out. I'm kind of intrigued to see how the market ends off the week. If we look at a weekly view here, oh, where are we going? There we go. Kind of a weekly view. You can see it's still trending downwards. Even though it started down here and gap, and then it started down here and then came back to fill. It's still kind of in a downward trend. So, green bars don't necessarily mean that the market was green on the week. I mean, this is still somewhat a loss. So yeah, but it does look to be holding this moving average too. So yeah, I just kind of see how this thing plays out, and I'm still holding cash. I did yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before? I saw Sava taking off, and that kind of got me to get back into my AVXL. I talked about that on here that morning when I saw Sava pop up on the scanner, because AVXL kind of moves with Sava, and it actually paid off pretty well yesterday. So if we look at the daily view here, I mean, and this was based on nothing other than me just kind of knowing AVXL and knowing that it moves with it. But I think it was could be wrong here. I want to say it was on this morning right here. Oh, it was this morning. It was Thursday morning because it gapped up. So we were looking in pre-market, and Sava had hit a high of 60. I had previously exited my AVXL at I think about 17 for a loss down here on Monday, and I bought back in on that Thursday morning, and I ended up being a part of this nice ride up. So I'm back in AVXL for my long haul play. I still think that it's going to eventually work its way up and test these all time highs. I just, everything's been a little crazy lately in the market, with the way things have been swaying back and forth. But I made out pretty good on that. I just got lucky just kind of seeing that Sava pop that day. All right. So looking at the rest of these plays, let me pull this up real quick. All right. Next thing I want to go over here was the watch list from yesterday. And I also want to point out, like, I kind of talked about, that these plays that I'm scanning for in the morning are all about, day trades, getting in and out, and also even the more of the swing ones that I talked about that I had sent out on the YouTube channel. I put on there, keep type stop losses, always take profits, and I think that's important no matter what. And I've been talking about that for a long time on here, even with CLOV, like talking about if CLOV all of a sudden hit some insane spike and went 200% over, you know, over the course of a day or two, I was going to take profits on it, because you have to in this type of market, or I guess in any market. You always want to, put some money back in your pocket. So anyway, so with the plays that I've been looking at and watching right now, and then I'm just trying to give people a chance to get in here because I know we're starting early. Kind of review real quick. So yesterday we had a huge watch list, and I kind of decided that I was only going to watch 3 of them. I said I was going to watch Neuro, MRM, and ATER, looking for some day trade possibilities. Neuro, I never got a chance to play. I didn't really like the chart. It was chopping. It was pretty choppy all over the place, and there was some opportunity in there. I guess if anybody wanted to kind of trade, the range was pretty decent from 1361 up to 1495. That's more than $1 move to the upside throughout the day. Then it kind of just flushed off. But I never played Neuro. MRM was the other one that I said I was going to keep an eye on. I don't think MRM really gave too much opportunity. There was this 1397 to 16. But again, this one I think was a little so choppy too that it would have been so hard to get in there and try to get in and out. I didn't play this one either. The only play that I did make yesterday, which was pretty profitable, and I ended up kind of walking away from the charts for the rest of the day because I hit pretty big early on, was ATER. If you were watching us earlier or yesterday at the bell, I talked about how I got stopped out. I had set a stop loss at my entry point at 1360, and I got stopped out there. So the previous day, or 2 days previous, I had sent out a message both on the Discord and to members of the YouTube channel, like, hey, I'm looking to enter into ATER in pre-market. That was Wednesday morning. I did. ATER went wild, hitting as high as 18 something. I forget how high it went, but it was above 18. I ended up getting out half in the high 17s and holding half overnight. So again, always take profits. And because of that, I set a stop loss at my entry point. So because I got the other half out at my entry point, the first half ended up being, pretty decent profit. Didn't make anything on the second half, but didn't lose anything. The one thing I'll say about stop losses, they're not, most stop losses won't work in after hours. So it's not fail safe. You still got to kind of be watching in after hours if you are holding a trade like that overnight. For me, I was expecting ATER to keep running, but unfortunately, I got stopped out. Now, in terms of day trading, it was on my watch list yesterday. I was looking for a break, and I did end up getting in, and I put this on the Discord too when I jumped in. But it was somewhere around what, if I remember, like 1250 something, 56. I know it was right around here. I saw this crossover, and it was crossing over the 50 SMA. I thought this looked pretty bullish. I got in. At the time, I was looking to kind of ride it up to VWAP. But I saw this volume kind of picking up as it was pushing through VWAP, so I stayed in. It ended up hitting as high as 1449. I don't remember exactly where I got stopped out at, but I think it was somewhere in here. So pretty decent profit. I actually went, so it was like 1250 to, if I recall correctly, I want to say I made over $1. I don't remember exactly where I got stopped out at, but it was over $1 in profit on the shares that I threw in there, and that was pretty good. And at that point, I started doing some yard work and just doing some other stuff around the house. Came back and looked real quick, and I ended up hopping in on this trade one more time. And again, I threw this one on the Discord for anyone who was in there watching. I said, "Hey, I'm entering back in." And this one, I think I got in somewhere around 1342 ish. Um, not as much profit. It jumped up to 1375, and I got stopped out again somewhere around here. So 65. So, maybe like a 30-cent gain. It wasn't bad, but after that, I just kind of quit day trading on the day. There was some other opportunities in ATER, and I'm going to continue watching it today, even though it's not on my scanners, because it does look to be providing some good movement. It's got a nice range right now, and until that stops, this is some good opportunities here to make money. I mean, if you could even a little bounce like that. There was even one later on in the day at Power Hour. I didn't play it, but it provided some nice movement. And so, even as these stocks are starting to go down, there's still some good entry and exit points that you could find. Just one thing I keep saying, and I'll continue to preach this is just always take profits. Okay, don't turn a good trade into a bad trade by holding on too long. Especially if you're playing options. I've been going all shares with ATER, but if anybody who's just kind of trying options, when you get a nice profit in your options plays, get out. Okay, take your profit or set a stop loss on it, a trailing stop, whatever you want to do, but don't hold option plays too long. That's when you end up losing. That's not financial advice. It's just the way I play it. All right, let's see what's going on in the chat here. I'm going to throw CLOV back up real quick, and then we'll do a quick scan. I don't know how much day trading I'm going to actually do today, but we'll kind of scan a little bit and see what stocks are going to look hot. The two I was scanning in pre-market that came up that caught my eye were CAPR and ZIVO. They seem to be getting a lot of volume and gap up, but we'll go over that in a second. Looks like Noir's in the house already. 6-8 spin drift, div by 0. Michael with the La Clova Nostra. I love it. Sir Lucky Charms. Michael says Survivor Pool. If you ain't first, you're last. Yeah, you know what? That reminds me. I'm just going to, even though I said I was going to get through the chat right now, I just want to look because I don't remember if I picked the Panthers. I wanted to pick the Panthers, and no, I didn't. Damn it. I wanted to pick the Panthers and just utilize that as my because you only get to pick each team once. And I figured that playing the Texans, that would be kind of an easy play. And I don't know how many times the Panthers are going to come across that, although they're 3-0 now. Christian McCaffrey got hurt. I don't know how long that undefeated season is going to ride out if he stays hurt. But either way, I meant to pick the Panthers yesterday. I got pretty tied up dealing with other stuff around the house and practice and, so many other things. And, yeah, Survivor Pool's going good. It looks like if I just check out the dashboard here, let me see. Looks like 4 people picked the Panthers yesterday, and a couple people got eliminated. No, that must have been from previously, but it says 8 eliminated entries. All right. And 9 people haven't put in their picks yet. That's including myself. I haven't done mine yet. All right. So, Big Nate, happy Friday. What's up? Noir says his portfolio is about to hit the deepest shade of red. Yeah, it's been pretty rough, and the market, like I said, looks to be gapping down, but it could pop back before we know it. Um, Holiday option, what's up? Good morning, Pete. Day late, dollar short. Good morning. ACO. Michael says, isn't May, September, and October typically down months for the market? Um, Historically, I want to say October might be. I know last year September and October were atrocious. I mean, that was kind of like the biggest ever since the March 2020 kind of little crash, or even though it was like a really quick kind of 2 to 3 month thing. It's still a crash in March 2020, but you know, the biggest correction that we saw, or kind of the only correction maybe, was in that September October range. So yeah, typically it is. Um, and Freak, what's up? Ross Lowe's in the house. What do you think about lithium? I don't know anything about it. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. I have no opinion whatsoever. KLF, good morning. Um, yeah, I really hope. I mean, I'm a big McCaffrey fan too. My son is loves Christian McCaffrey, and I have him on my fantasy team. But regardless, I remember watching him in college, and like I said, I mean, we're Niner fans in my house, and my son owns 2 Christian McCaffrey jerseys, and he just like idolizes him. He loves him, and got a Christian McCaffrey fat head on his wall and everything, and so. It's like it sucked to see him kind of get hurt. I was actually at flag football practice yesterday, and then when we got home, um, my wife was telling me like, McCaffrey's out of the game already because he does get beat up a lot, but they just use the hell out of him. Like he kind of for the last couple of years has been their whole team. I think Sam Darnold might change that a little bit. I know he hasn't been great, but he seems to be playing good right now through the first 3 weeks. So, 4 of us picked Carolina. So Michael picked Carolina. Right on, Michael. Dennis D, good morning. E Money. Patrick Zhang, morning coach. VIH. After October 14th meeting, do you know how long it will take to change the ticker from VIH to back? I do not know. What I'm thinking is the October 14th meeting, they'll set the date. That'll be like when they set the date for, when they're going to do the merger. That's what I'm anticipating. And that's what I'm anticipating maybe might make VIH move. But again, I just want to throw this out there. If we get big movement prior to that, so let's say October 14th, on October 14th, they come out and they announce, hey, we're set to make this merger go through on November 5th, whatever it may be, right? Or December 10th, whatever the date may be. I think then you're going to see the movement and you're going to see the thing start running. And if we get the movement before the December 10th date or whatever, do not hold to that date. Okay, you'll regret it. That's just, my experience. I would, take your profits. Again, always take profits. So if all of a sudden you see, the day of the announcement, everybody's, so everything's leading up to this merger date, that's when you want to sell. That's when you want to get out, because then all of a sudden, the people that are buying right before the merger date thinking that something's going to happen, those are the ones that are going to be holding the bag. Okay. You don't want to be like that. You want to get your profits now. And that's why I love where VIH is at right now. Sitting with a high short interest, having such a loaded options chain and low float. And again, you could buy this thing today, right now, for $10 and what? 5 cents, $10.09. That seems to be the bid ask right now. So, about 1% above NAV. So, that's all you'd really be risking to come in and buy VIH right now, because it's worth at least $10 being a SPAC that's pre-merger. So, All right, let's see here. Big Nate says 49ers here too, but pull for the home team Panthers as well. Okay, I like it. And that's kind of so like my household right now, at least, because my son's taking such a liking in McCaffrey and everything. We're kind of the same way. Like when the Panthers are playing anybody else, we're rooting for the Panthers. But I mean, we went to the Niner game. Was it 2 years ago? Carolina played at San Francisco, and even my son who loves Christian McCaffrey, he's wearing his Niner stuff. He's rooting for the Niners. I mean, he still knows what's up. Um, but yeah, the Niners they didn't have a chance that game anyways. I want to say it was like 45-17 or something. It was a pretty fun game as a Niner fan. All right, let's see here. Ecom, what's up? Okay, so let's it's already 5:20. Let's look at some of these scanners real quick. I was looking earlier, and the two that I really liked on the scanner was ZIVO and CAPR. Those are the top two right here on this scanner. And L Train had sent me a screenshot of his scanner earlier, and those were two. Actually, these are the top three that popped up on his too. So we'll take a look at all of them. Yeah, Dave, I'm gonna star that, and we'll get into ATER in a second as well. Let's see. So ZIVO was the first one up here. It's up 88% right now. This one's pretty intriguing, and I say that because kind of like, again, MRIN a couple days ago provided some nice opportunities to day trade with this huge gap up. My assumption is it looks like it's kind of losing steam, like this is probably going to start falling back down. And then maybe, potentially you could find some opportunities to get in there. One thing that I liked about this, it's a relatively low float, which means it can move with the type of volume that it's seeing right now. I mean, it's already seeing 6.6 million in volume for a float that's 9 million. That's insane. And then if we look here, you figure it was trading at 345 yesterday. Right now it is at, where we at, 642. So it's already trading right around here. Okay, it did hit even higher, but as you can see, there's no real resistance in there, and there's a pretty decent gap that can get filled all the way up to potentially, like this 958 mark, at least to this 799 mark, which is actually or I'm sorry, I'm tired right now. It filled this gap the other day. I'm not even paying attention to this huge wick right here in front of me. Excuse me, guys. I'm tired right now. I still haven't finished my coffee, but it did gap up the other day, and it looks like it came down and filled it, and so it may be ready to start running again. But I do like that there's this thing had a lot of movement, and still, if it can break past this, it's got some more room to the upside. I mean, and you're talking about, yeah, it's up 88 right now. If this thing breaks in the right direction, we could see it run up at least 100, 200%. I'm not saying buy it right now. I'm just saying where it's got some nice levels. I was looking at Trady Ticks this morning before I turned on the stream, and this is one thing I'm going to start doing with these ones that I'm going to put on too, just because it's easy instead of spending the time to do it. But Trady Ticks gives you some nice strength and resistance levels. So like I said, ZIVO right now, if you were going to day trade this, it's currently at like about the 650 mark. So it's way up here, and no strength and resistance levels up top, at least. Let me see if we can back this out a little bit. But as it comes down, you should be able to find some support at 490 if you're trading this throughout the day. Also 445, 393, 344, and 280. So those are kind of like the major support levels that you'll find. With this stock, if I end up trading this today, my expectation is that it's going to fall down a little bit, like it is now, and then there'll be some nice up and down movement throughout the day. Unless we catch a huge breakout and it starts running, then who knows how high it can go. So this is one that I'm definitely putting on the watch list for today, to kind of find some day trades inside of. The next one was CAPR. Okay. This is a therapeutical company that just had some phase 2 results announced this morning. It's gapping up pretty nice, and it still looks like it's running in the right, in the green. It's looking to make new highs. So if we take a look at this one on the daily chart, this is the one that I really liked, because if you look back at this chart now, it's trading at 614 right now. Once it kind of passes the 622 mark, there's really no major resistance levels for a while. So this is one that could be a runner today. And that's the one I was thinking of in my head earlier when I started talking about ZIVO. So let's take a look at what TradyTix has on there for the major support levels. And we pull this over again. That was that mark that I was just talking about, that 624. So if all of a sudden, I'll get this stuff out of the way. If all of a sudden here, CAPR breaks past 624 this morning and starts running, it's got room to go up to 723 before it hits its next line of support. Then after that, we'd be looking at this high somewhere up here. I mean, it's definitely got a lot of room to run. 22 million float. Volume on this right now is somewhere around 6.8 million. Not bad, considering the float size. And so again, that's that 624 level I was talking about here. TradyTix is saying 723 after that. And then I would just go ahead and even look here at 845. And I'm just talking about, like, if we do get into a runner today, where it would end up breaking out at. So that's kind of the other one. And then the only other one that I really looked at that popped up again on both scanners was AEHR. It's been running for quite some time now, and when I looked at it earlier before I started the show, it looks like it's starting to gap down or come back down off this after hours run yesterday. So this may be one of those ones that you could maybe play the bounce off the bottom whenever it finds a bottom today and start playing it back up, because we're going to see a pretty wide range, I would imagine. And that's all I'm looking at with this one. So if we look at the daily chart, not a lot of resistance to the upside. I mean, it's kind of already way up there. So this might be an opportunity to, jump on a runner, or like I said, some intraday moves. If we look at major support levels on this one, again, trading at 1374 right now. So nothing really to the upside, but as it comes back down, depending on where it ends up, you have 1071, 705. I doubt it's going to get way down here, but 1071 might be a major level. So that's something where if all of a sudden it started falling down today, maybe you could try to play this off 1071, like it'll bounce off. That would be maybe an entry point for it to start rolling up throughout the day for a quick little day trade. All right. That's enough there. So those are the three that I'm going to put on the watch list. And then I'm still going to be watching ATER, because I've just had so much success trading this thing over the last 2 or 3 days that I want to really keep that one, and keep watching, because, that one I think has some potential. I know some other people were day trading SDC yesterday, and even TMC looks like it's spiking right now. So some of the same names that we've been watching over the last couple weeks, I think a lot of these are going to be, they're in that zone where they're going to kind of be pinned down. And yeah, I see Noar says SDC keeps falling. Yeah, I wouldn't enter into any of these as a as a necessarily like a long-term hold right now, but there's definitely some opportunities to get in and make some money on these. So Dave says, any thoughts on what ATER does going forward? I mean, I think it definitely has some potential still, but this would have been kind of the this could have been the top up here. So it's fallen down, and I mean that's what we've been seeing with a lot of these plays, right? So SDC, if we go back and look at some of these other ones, um, it kind of hit its peak back at 744 a while back. It's coming back down. Really, I think these things are just trying to find a new base and kind of level out. They still have high short interest. They still have, high utilization, but we're talking about manipulated stocks, and it may be, I talked about this the other day, even with regards to TMC. My thoughts is once they get it, once they let it run and people start taking profits, they're going to start trying to pin these things down to, a certain price and just, let the IV kind of float out. I still like ATER's, chart. The whole reason that I had made the original call out on ATER, let me get rid of this shit real quick because it's going to drive me crazy. There we go. The whole reason I originally liked ATER's chart the other day was you could see that it popped up, came down, and then it looked like it was ready to start moving back up this way. There was some significant gaps in there. We filled one yesterday, and that's kind of been what this stock has done. Gapped up here, came down and filled it, and went on a run. Gapped up here and here, came down and filled both yesterday. I don't know that it's necessarily going to keep running. That's why, again, I was talking about like always take your profits, but this also looks like a little mini cup too. I didn't usually play technicals like that, but I mean, I could see this thing taking off, or I could see it getting pinned down. I'm completely out. I got stopped out yesterday on the beginning of the show, which was for a pretty decent profit because I had taken profit on my first half of the trade and let the other half ride. And then I day traded it a little bit yesterday, but I could see this thing continuing to move. But I wouldn't bank on it, we've just seen too many of these stocks get manipulated, but this chart still doesn't look bad. I mean, it came down and filled the gap. If we look at Ortex data on ATER right now, it looks like cost to borrow is 198. Estimated short interest is still 55. It actually increased today to 56. Utilization's at 97. These are all like the kind of things that you want in a squeeze play, right? So, I mean, obviously there's no guarantee ever that like shorts are going to have to, cover tomorrow or anything like that. But really, when you're looking at a squeeze play, you want a high cost to borrow. You want, a pretty reasonable short interest, which we have here. You want utilization to be significantly high. There we go. And then you just want some buying pressure, right? You want some volume coming in that's going to make all these things work together and get the stock to explode. And you have that here. If we look at some of the other ones, again, like let's say an SDC, come down. Okay, we have the utilization. We have the short interest. We don't really have the cost to borrow right now. Okay, doesn't mean it can't happen, but again, that's why I really still think that ATER is probably the biggest one. If we look at TMC, and the short interest on this one's not going to show exactly where it's at because this is one of those D-SPAC type plays, but it looks like the short interest is showing up at 2%. Cost to borrow 36, so it's higher, but it's not like ATER. Utilization's 97. So it doesn't look as strong. That doesn't mean that this one can't blow. It just means that, ATER kind of has all the pieces of the puzzle, but then you still need the buying pressure. IRNT is one that I know Degenerate had pointed out a couple times as being a stock that, had some insane cost to borrow. And again, it's still there. So if you look at this stock, 25% is decent short interest. Utilization 96 is high. Cost to borrow 655. Today it's at a 801. That's pretty damn crazy. This, and it's been floating here for a while. And this stock is trading, it keeps getting pushed down. It's at 23 right now. If I had to pick one of these that I wanted to get into, or two of these, but I wouldn't jump into any right now. But if I had to, I kind of like IRNT based on the what we're looking at here. And I still like ATER, as some, but I really think that some of these other ones are probably going to trade sideways for a while. Maybe even IRNT and ATER now. And they're just going to pin them down, eat up those premiums, let the IV kind of shrink down, and then all of a sudden let them run again, and that's exactly what we saw with CLOV and other big squeeze plays, even GameStop and AMC. Even with the extremely high short interest, they've figured out ways to kind of control and manipulate these stocks. That's just the truth. So like for me, with ATER, and I've been talking about this almost every day now, start, on the stream with a lot of these plays. It's all about getting in and out, and making your profits when you can. Got a nice piece here, and even, upwards of this. I made the wrong decision in holding half overnight, but I did get stopped out at my entry point of 1360. So overall, it was a decent trade. And now I'm just looking for opportunities to jump in and out of it. Now, if all of a sudden I see ATER pushing up today and, breaking past this $16 mark, which is where the gamma squeeze kind of kicked off the other day, I'm jumping back in. I'll jump back in and kind of hold, because I think that, we'll start to see that thing melt back up on a gamma squeeze. And, if it can get past this $19 mark, $20 mark, who knows how high it can go from there. I think at least blow out the option chain, which is upwards of like 35 or 40. So something I'll definitely be watching. Right now it's trading right around 12. We can kind of, again, say that this is more of a gap fill, and, potentially see this thing kind of rip back up now, or it might get, pushed back down and kind of just leveled out and controlled. So I'm keeping my eye on it, though. ATER staying on my watch list. And I'm going to go ahead and add IRNT, and I'm just going to make that my 5 for the day. So again, if you're joining a little late, ZIVO, CAPR, or CAPR, yeah, AEHR, ATER, and IRNT. Those are going to be my 3 that I'm looking at today. Let me get caught up again in the chat, and then we'll start going over CLOV and whatever you guys want to talk about. Maybe if you see any other runners or anything else. Louis B, what's up? Ecom says SDC $6 moving in at open. Yeah, the only thing, so like I just showed you with all that stuff, and I know I just talked about this, but I'll go back to it. The only thing that scares me about any of these plays is, SDC's chart looks pretty decent still. It's up, down, up, down. It's kind of just stair stepping. But there's gonna come a point where, this is still a bullish chart, right? If you look at it, I'd want confirmation. I'd want to see that. I would much rather stay out right now and see this thing break break green and get maybe to like 635 ish, break above this candle and show that it's ready to run, and then jump in and be able to ride it up for the next big run, then jump in right now at 6 and let this thing fall back down to $4, and now I'm holding a bag. So I think it'd be safer to kind of stay out a little bit and wait it out. That's me. I could very well say that, and you jump in and it runs to 10 and you're like, see, I told you. And I'm just trying to play it a little safer with a lot of these plays. Let's see here. Louis B with the super chat, right on. I appreciate it. Thank you. Means a lot always. Everybody supporting the channel. I really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Louis. Pranav says, can you look at DraftKings? Yes. I'll pull that up real quick. So I exited my DraftKings position on Monday, and I'm still bullish on DraftKings. But we talked about that on the show on Monday. That I basically wanted to go all cash. So that was somewhere around here. I got out, and it's just really the way the market's going. And I think someone tweeted me, I think Thomas tweeted me yesterday and showed me that they had Hedge Eye ended up attacking DraftKings right now. But honestly, I see this as a good buying opportunity. I'm gonna end up getting back in. My original play when I got into DraftKings was kind of in this same range, right around here, I think, is where I was at, and then got a part of this run, rolled out my options, got some more run here, and then I actually closed them out right here, so because the way the market's kind of been going. But I'm not ready to get in DraftKings yet, because I kind of want to see where where the market's headed. If the market pulls back a little, I think DraftKings has some room to fall. If the market's ready to start running, I still think DraftKings has the ability to push $80-$90, during football season. But this may be a rough month, and if it is, I want to be sitting in cash and kind of see where the chips fall. So I'm still not entering into DraftKings right now. I've just been sitting on the sidelines all week. Seems like longer, but it's just been this week. But saved a little bit in doing so too. And I did send that message out to the channel as well on on the YouTube. I kind of told everybody I was kind of going cash on Monday. David, what's up? Good morning. Scotty Z's in the house. What's up? Cool Bros says ATER. Yeah, it's running right now too. It looks like it's starting to move a little bit. I say running, it's up 1%, but it's starting to move in the right direction. David says, "Where's my 100K from CLOV?" No shit, I'm ready for CLOV to get me some more dry powder so I could really start moving into some of these other plays. Noar said, Terts McGurts, what's up? Noar says the spike on TMC. Yeah, TMC's starting to spike right now too. Looks like they all started moving right around the same time. So like TMC, ATER, all within like the last maybe 20 minutes, started moving up a little bit. Even AMC hit a little spike a little while ago. I still got that one on my watch list over here. Those seem to be the three that started moving a little while ago. Why do I have a 1 minute chart over here? There we go. Yeah, so really it was like the last 15 minutes on all those. They all started running. ATER looks like a buy between 10 to 1150 and will go up to fill up gap down from yesterday. Yeah, that's kind of, I think it might run a little bit today. and really, I really like the chart still. I really do. I just, you know, always take profits. I cannot preach that enough. Um, the only stock, and I know I probably sound like a broken record, and I'll continue to repeat this. CLOV is kind of a different beast. It really is. It's kind of a different animal in that, with CLOV, it's one of those stocks that is so undervalued that I don't mind just holding for the long haul because I know it's worth more. But even with CLOV, I've said that, if this thing doubles or triples, in a couple of days, I'm taking profits. I'm getting out, even though I know it's worth way more. But you got to kind of have that mindset, especially when you're playing a lot of these stocks. If you jump into something with options and you get over 50% gains, 100% gains, I would put a trailing stop on it. In that way, because 100% gain on an options contract can turn into negative 50% literally overnight. Because you're not just battling the stock price, you're also battling IV. And even if you get into, a trade on a stock, if you get over 10%, throw a trailing stop on. I mean, I know you want to make more money or whatever, but if you're in some squeeze play like ATER and all of a sudden you see it start running and you're up 10%, 20%, and the thing's moving, put a trailing stop. Okay. Yeah, it could dip down and stop you out. And you miss out on like the top of the peak, but it's better to miss out on the top but save your gains than to have a winning trade go south and turn it into a loss. So I still think that this is a good one though that I'm going to be looking to play right now. I kept that one on the list for today too because this stock's been moving a lot. VN, good morning. I don't know if I said that already. David wants to know about CLOV. We'll get to that right now. Genetic Nate, good morning. Josh, well, good morning. Says Win Move. Moon, Andy Smith. Janati, what do you think about APRE? I don't know. I don't know much about it. I know that was one of the ones I think from a couple days ago that we had on the day trade list, but that was it. Looks to have been losing some volume. It had some volume. Was it yesterday that was on the list? Must have been the day before. I think the day before we had it on the day trade list. Yeah, I don't know much about this stock at all. Al Trades in the house. What's up, Al? Good morning. Danny did it. Good morning. Says WIMI hologram to be kept on the back burner. Potential high growth incoming. Let me write that one down. Been looking at Orgo for a long-term play, but I would like to know your thoughts on a short-term play. Short-term play on Orgo? I mean, without knowing anything about this company and just looking at the daily chart, looks like for this year it ran up from 3 to 24, so almost 8 times in growth. That's pretty amazing, and probably just in more of a consolidation phase now. I mean, after having such a huge run, who knows? I mean, it looks like the float on this thing is 62 million, not bad. And the only reason I want to know that is so that when we look at the daily volume that comes in, so it's getting about somewhere about 1 million a day in volume. As of currently, looks like back on some of its higher days, 13 million. So not a lot of volume in the stock, in relation to the float size, but not bad either. Yeah, I don't know about a short-term play on Orgo. I don't know anything about it. A lot of times if you're looking at like long-term plays, you want to really get a feel for the stock, know how it reacts to news, and what kind of catalyst it has upcoming. I don't even know what this company does, but we could check Tradie Ticks real quick and see what Tradie Ticks has to say about it. If I look at, it's always fun because I'm still kind of learning how Tradie Ticks works. So if we look at Orgo and we kind of show some support and resistance levels, it is showing that it really has no major support until it drops to the downside of 1026. It's also got this simulated projections. I don't know how accurate these are, but it's saying that it's got a high limit of 1880, low limit of $16 over the basically for the remainder of the year is where it's saying that it could be going. Again, this is all without knowing much about this stock. I have no idea if I would I don't know if I get into a short-term play on it, but all right, let's see here. AL says good. I took some profits for ATER on Wednesday. Think it left half to keep going. Yeah, me too. And I ended up getting stopped out on that half, and now I'm glad I did because it's trading even lower. But it's like, I mean, who knows what's gonna happen with it? But I think you just always got to have that mindset. Like, I'm willing to, I just want to take my profits where I can, and I think it's funny because I was talking to my neighbor about this the other day, and it's like with CLOV, like I said, it's kind of a different beast because every time I see it, I'm like, oh man, trading below 8, let me add on because I know it's going to pay off at some point. But when you're approaching a lot of these other plays, and you just, I think part of the trader psychology that everybody needs to develop is to just always take profits, trade without emotion. I don't care what the company does. I don't care if I like what the company does or whatever. It's just if you make more money than you expected on a trade, take your profits, right? If you're in a long-term position on something that you were thinking was going to get you 10% over the course of the next year, and all of a sudden you get 15% in a matter of 2 months, take some profits. Like always take profits. When you're day trading, set stop losses. When you're swing trading, have a target price in mind, and when you exceed that target, get out. Wait for a pullback to get back in, find a different play. The only other thing I'll add to that is don't overtrade. It's like I'm gonna throw this up here just because I know Al's not gonna care and he's gonna think it's funny. But Al, you got to drop a new video, man. Yashvir is asking for one. But yeah, you kind of gotta just have that mindset. Don't be too greedy, and also don't be too fearful. Otherwise, you won't get into trades. But you just the whole psychology of trading is why most people end up losing. And that's really what ends up happening is some people never they see what they're supposed to see on the screen and they don't do it because they're afraid, and they miss out on trades, so they exit too early, or at the same time they stay in trades too long when everything's telling them they should be getting out. because they think that it's going to be the big play and it's going to go higher. Okay, so it's greed and fear, and they'll both end up killing you if you let them. So, you just gotta find that middle ground. Know your rules. Know what your expectations are. And I think Ghost said it the other night on the No Financial Limit show. Stick and move. Make money, move somewhere else. Make money, move somewhere else. But where I was going with this was don't overtrade. Like yesterday, I hit a pretty decent profit on that ATER trade that I did right in I think it was like around 8:30. I showed it earlier. But there was like a dollar movement in a very short amount of time. And at that point, it was like, okay, I'm done for the day. Why even? I just exceeded what I normally make in a trade, in 3 days of day trading in one day. I'm done. And then I went and kind of enjoyed the rest of my day, went outside, did some yard work, just started doing other stuff. And I think that's important too. Don't sit there and overtrade and then all of a sudden give everything back. Like if you hit some nice profits, walk away. All right, let's get to CLOV because I'm getting some CLOV questions. All right, so Pete says dark pool on CLOV has been shorter than expected. Let's take a look here. So first off, let me pull up Chart Exchange. All right, so it looks like dark pool yesterday was 47%. If we come down and look at, I don't know if it's that much lower than usual. 47, 48, 45. I mean, there's still been a significant amount of dark pool volume. It looks like on Friday and Monday, not so much, trading in the 37s, but I mean, shit, 49%, that's like almost half the volume. Even that, it's like almost half the volume daily has been traded in the dark pool, more than half. I mean, this is going back. If you look at the month of September alone, so the last 23, I know it's not days, but calendar days here, from basically September 1st to the 23rd now, only 2 days have been lower than 40%. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days that were greater than 50%. That's crazy for the amount of volume on a stock to be routed into the dark pool. So I would still say that the dark pool volume is pretty high. Short volume now, on the other hand, we could take a look at, and again, even 40 is pretty high, but I mean, more than half the volume on Wednesday was short volume. Wednesday was the day that we were starting to see a little bit of a spike, and then they start shorting the shit out of it. It's just, I don't know. The one correlation I will, that, I don't know. It's this definitely still being manipulated. I mean, I think that's obvious to anybody, and that's kind of why. Someone asked me the other day, like, how come you haven't been making CLOV videos? Well, really, I kind of, once I got back to school, I started doing the weekly updates, and instead of doing like the daily updates, really just because I've been busier than hell. But I did not do a weekly update this last week. I was way too busy this weekend. We had a birthday party for my son and a bunch of other stuff going on, and I'm not giving up on it. I'll still go back, and I'll probably get one in today for this weekend, because I should have a little bit of extra time today, so I'll make sure and get one out there. But it's just been more of the same. Positive news for the stock, and more short attacks and manipulation. So if we take a look, just because we've been kind of looking every day, max pain for today is $8. So again, we kind of expect to kind of be in that range. until we break out of it. Once we break above it, I think we did get above it a couple weeks ago, and we actually traded above it for 2 weeks. But at this point, I think Mac Bracken, I don't remember exactly what he said in the tweet, but I think he was pretty on point in what he said. Matter of fact, I'll even try to look it up real quick, but he tweeted something out the other day that I thought was pretty spot on. And what it's gonna take for CLOV right now, to really kind of break free. And I think one of them was the Analyst upgrade, and I couldn't agree more with that. There we go. And if anyone's unfamiliar, Mac's been on the show, I think once or twice. Great dude. But I think he's back at work and stuff now too. So hasn't really been available to come back on. I'll have to reach out to him though, because I had a lot of fun when he came on. But anyways, I saw this tweet that he put out. First thing that he did, basically, this is what it's going to take for CLOV to take off, is one of these things. And I agree. MCR improving. Okay, so MCR is how much money the company has to put out per patient, in a sense, right? So you'll see an MCR number. I think CLOV was at like 110, meaning they're paying more for their customers right now for their live under managed than they're actually bringing in. And that's where we talk about they're not profitable yet, but revenue's increasing. And I think some of that had to do with COVID. So if all of a sudden we see them report an increase in it or a decrease in MCR, which means now they become profitable off their patients, that would be one. But we need to see that. Two, an analyst price upgrade, which we've been talking about. I think we might get one of those soon. We just got the approval for the expansion. That may do it. Maybe an analyst upgrades a price target now. I don't know if it'll be 12. I think it might be a little bit higher, but he's saying 12 plus. Absolutely. 4-star rating. If that comes out, that's going to make the stock profitable. It's going to, all of a sudden now, $500, I believe, is the number per life under management. That instantly makes the company profitable. Medicare going to 60, that's another good one. You know what I mean? That's been talked about. If that happens, that's a ton of lives under management that CLOV will have the opportunity to take on. And then big money name investor like ARK. I mean, I think we've been seeing a ton of. That's the one thing that maybe I don't want to say I disagree. Mac, if you're listening, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying, in general, I mean, we've been seeing a ton of big money flowing in, and I think we'll continue to see that. But I could see something like ARK coming in and that getting retail excited and really getting the volume increased. But I thought that was a great list, and I just realized I never retweeted that. There we go. I was reading it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, he's pretty spot on here. But I just retweeted it right now. But yeah, I thought that was a good list, and I really think we're going to be waiting on one of those things. Okay, I think we're going to be waiting on. And to me, I would say the analyst price target, I'm assuming, is going to come first. But it could just be one of those things, and one of those may be the catalyst. And I couldn't agree more with that tweet. Gunslinger says, how much dark pool volume does a normal stock like Apple have? Well, let's take a look. All right, so we're looking at CLOV again, 47%. Again, most days are 40 to 50%. Let's look at Apple. 37% yesterday. 30. So if we look at Apple over the course of the same time frame, so let's just say from September on, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the majority of the days were in the low 40s. More days in the 30s though. That, to me, that's just crazy. That in general, that much buy pressure is routed in there. Let's check out Disney. 34%. So So Disney's more in the 30s, even got some 20s in there. Only one day with 40%. What's another kind of blue chip stock? Let's try Ford. 42% dark pool yesterday. Yeah, 40s. Let's see. Any update on CLOV? We're up to date. We talk about it here every day. What buy, when, can, and hold? Sorry, I need new plays. There's nothing wrong or anything to see with CLOV. Yeah, no, I agree with you, David. Like, I mean, I agree 100%. I'm in CLOV. I'm not going anywhere with it. I really think this is the millionaire maker. I think it's going to be the one that kind of, if you hold it long enough, you're going to make a ton of money off it. And it's just who knows how long. And in the meantime, I've just been trying to, jump in and out of some other stuff. I haven't seen anything that I've looked that's looked promising from a swing trade perspective right now. That looks like a big explosive play. I did last week. I kind of noticed TMC before it was kind of taken off, and I jumped on that one in after hours. I didn't send a message out. I only sent it on a group text, and I wish. And then afterwards, in hindsight, I was like, man, I should have put this as a perfect opportunity to put these kind of plays out on the channel. And because sometimes you can't really make a video, and so TMC was one that I had jumped in as kind of a overnight runner type thing, and made quite a few off. I think that was like 2 weeks ago. But then, moving forward now, I saw RKLY. I threw that one out there for people to jump on Monday. That was a nice little runner. I think it went like 25%. And then ATER was the other one that, the other day we were able to get a nice chunk of. So when I see those plays, I'll definitely put them out. Now, I was talking to someone the other day, and they were saying that, sometimes on the YouTube thing, it doesn't go through right away. So like, even if you have your bell notifications on and I throw the play on the YouTube community, you guys might not get it right away. I don't know what's up with that. But if you turn those notifications on the bell, I did send it out to like all the members of the channel, like as soon as I played it. And then I've also been throwing any plays that I see throughout the day or whenever in the Discord as well. And the Discord's free for anyone who wants to join, and anybody else is welcome to like post their own plays in there too. I know Robert's been kind of putting his watch list in there some days. And some other people have been talking about plays, even sharing DD in there and stuff. So anyone who wants to jump in the Discord, the link is below. And again, that's free. And I'll continue to just kind of throw my entry and exits when I find like plays that I think are going to move pretty big too. Let's see. Kaiser says, go check out IBM. Let's check that one out. And Thomas, you make a good point too. He said the dark pool and short volume and all that is a little bit different on those larger cap stocks. Let's see here. Yeah, so I mean, you look at IBM, you're looking at 28% short volume. And a lot like Disney, nothing really happening there. 28, 30, 20. We got one day in there with 50% short volume in there. Dark pool volume, and that's it. If we look at short volume's actually kind of high there, but this dark pool volume's nothing compared to what we're seeing with CLOV. And I mean, and again, it's not just CLOV. I'll pull up ATER since we're talking about it. 46% volume yesterday, but again, look at this one, just like CLOV, 50, 50, 50, 50, 50. Actually, more dark pool volume than CLOV's even seeing. Look at all this. I mean, you know, and this stock was able to run even in the midst of all that. So again, it's not like, oh well, when are they going to quit doing this so CLOV can run? It can run even without this. It's just kind of like what I said a little while ago. Like, and even if you look at the short volume, I mean, pretty high in these recent days when it takes off, but you notice that on the days when it's running, short volume decreases. Same way it has been with CLOV. But what we need, with any of these stocks is, a high cost to borrow, a high utilization rate, which means that there's like no shares available, and the shares that are available are costing a ton of money. We want a decent, short interest size, and then we need some volume to push into the stock. We need buying pressure. We need, not just volume, but buying pressure. And, that's what's going to get the stock moving. The option chain does create buying pressure, when you get into those gamma scenarios, but also just straight up buying on the lit market. Let's see. Disagree. Focus on AI piece. The costing is 109%. We'll go to 90s after COVID. Analyst targets are worthless. Yeah, no, I get that. I'm not saying that the analyst targets on CLOV, means everything at all. I'm not. What I'm saying though is, I mean, if an analyst came out and puts a price target out there, that will get the stock moving. I mean, I think all analyst targets are trash, but they do move the markets. I mean, you see, just the other day, I think it was Lucid got an upgrade. It took off. SoFi got an upgrade. It took off. And there's just so many people that subscribe to these analyst ratings and really focus on that. The first thing they look at when they go to invest in a stock is, okay, well, what are the analysts saying? Oh, well, the analysts are saying CLOV's only worth $8 or $9, and then they'll just stop, not even do any more research. So if all of a sudden, because I mean, there's millions of investors out there. So if all of a sudden an analyst price target comes out and let's say puts CLOV at like $12, shit, that's like a 60%, 70% increase from where it's trading at right now. You're going to get people buying into this stock immediately. And that might be that buy pressure that we're missing. But I'm not saying that we need an analyst target. And I agree with you. I do think they're worthless, but they can generate a little bit of momentum, right? They can get some interest in the stock. Close AI equals buy. Absolutely. I've been saying that all along too, and I do agree with that. Like I think that the AI is what makes this the play, right? Like what sets this apart from any other insurance company. There's so many insurance companies out there. Why the big noise about an insurance company? Why does everybody want to invest in an insurance company? Because it's not an insurance company. It's an AI play. It's a tech play. It's a disruptor. This is a play that, to me, could be the next Amazon, could be the next Tesla, could be the next. It's a disruptor in the industry. Like, and the company's showing that they're making it about AI. Now, we've been talking about healthcare, and that whole list there was about healthcare, but that's because right now it's being seen as a healthcare company. So if all of a sudden the MCR drops, you're going to get, a profitable company. And that's the big knock on CLOV right now, is that it's not profitable. So on the health insurance side, if they can become profitable, that's going to change some, the streets outlook on this stock. But the AI is still the play. I can't agree more with you, David. I think me and you are on the same page. It just might be coming across differently the way I'm saying it, but I can't agree more, man. Like I really think what brought me to this play and made me a long-term investor was the AI side of it. And I really see them like an Amazon does with their AWS, where even their competitors are using Amazon system, the AWS. It's like that's the way the software as a service is where I see this company at. And you could see already with the hires from Uber. I mean, what health insurance company goes and hires someone from tech companies like Palantir and Uber? You know, a health insurance company that's really a tech company that's looking for hyper growth. That's who does it. You know what I mean? You don't. Otherwise, what business? It's all about the AI. That's what this play is all about. That's what the patent news that we saw was. That's what basically everything that we've been seeing in recent days, other than the most recent expansion. But even the expansion is going to be huge for the AI, because that's more lives under management that the AI can grow and learn from, right? So yeah, no, I'm with you 100%. I think long term, this is an AI play. It's a technology play. Um, but in the short term, what's gonna really turn this stock around? Is gonna be one of those things that has to do with the health insurance. That's gonna take away the big knock on it, which is they're not profitable right now. Utilization rate is how many shares are lent out of the available in percentage. Yes. So like if you see a 99% utilization rate, 100% utilization rate, my understanding is that it's pretty much they're out of shares, right? Now that doesn't mean that shares can't be made available, right? Because what happens too is as cost to borrow goes up, what happens? Well, let's say Kaiser, you're sitting. I love your name, by the way. I can't think of the name of that movie though, with Kevin Spacey, and it's a great movie. And for some reason, the name of it is just I'm losing it. But anyways, so when cost to borrow increases, like cost to borrow is like 1% right now, right? If all of a sudden cost to borrow goes up to 300%, yes, it's costing shorts more. But what else is also going to happen? Let's say you're sitting on 100,000 shares, and shit, you might turn around and say, hey, I can get a 1% back, give or take, daily, for lending my shares out. You know what? At 300%, hell yeah. So then you call your broker, you go call up Charles Schwab and say, you know what? Put my 100,000 shares on loan. I got 300%, hell yeah. Well, now that 99% utilization rate might drop down to 98 or whatever, because now there's more shares available, right? Because you just lent yours out. And how many other people are going to do that when that cost to borrow goes up? So the cost to borrow may actually invite new shares to be lent out. So it's not like when you see 100% utilization, that doesn't always mean that like there's no more shares available, because I could choose to lend out my shares tomorrow. So I just want to make that clear too. And on top of that, we're also looking at Ortex, which isn't all the data, and same reason why I don't even really look at iBorrow much anymore. But I've been saying this from the start. It's just one broker's data, so we're still never getting the whole picture. So there's still, I've seen people say before, and this was going back months ago on the stream, like, I thought there was no shares available. How are they still shorting it? Well, if you're basing that off iBorrowDesk, and iBorrowDesk is showing zero, they're only talking about one lender. You still have, all these other lenders. And then again, even if you go to iBorrowDesk, and you know what? I hate doing this. I start talking about something and I'm not showing it. Let me just show it on the screen. All right, so here's CLOV, iBorrowDesk. So we go down and we look. Right now it's showing 1 million shares available at 0.9, right? Now a couple things happen. So they have 1 million available to lend out. people borrow shares. That doesn't mean that they shorted them into the market. They could be holding them. Second thing is, again, just because all of a sudden this number grows doesn't mean shares were returned. More often than not, that's what it is. But again, if this fee goes up, you may have new shareholders offering up their shares to borrow, and that will increase this number too. So that, I guess that was my point there. Is there's two ways that number would rise. But again, that's only from one lender. So when you see $1 million available there, that doesn't represent the whole market. Yeah, Rick, I saw that. I saw that Investor Place article too. Someone said that the CLOV price target was 0. That's just absolutely insane. And that's kind of like that Hedge Eye, I think, or something. They said this was a $2 stock. And I know Altrades, I think, got into it a little bit with them, or not really into it, but just kind of some back and forth dialogue. And you could tell that their short thesis is slowly just starting to go to shit. I mean, to me it has been for a while, but it's like now I think the lady's response was something in regards to the approval for the growth was, just because you get approved to go into a new county doesn't mean that you're going to be able to sign people up. It's just like expanding your geographic footprint, doubling it per se, and they're like, oh well, that doesn't mean you're going to get new lives under management. Like, come on. It just look at the company and look at the percentage that they have in the counties that they already work in and how rapidly they've been growing. I mean, if anything, if you look at CLOV's last earnings report and see that quarter to quarter they doubled their lives under management, from quarter to quarter, and now all of a sudden you're letting them double their geographic footprint. What do you think is going to happen to their lives under management after they get a full quarter of that? But again, that's the short thesis. They want to kind of distort the information, and that's what they do. So let's see. To me, biggest issue with analysts on CLOV is they're looking at it through the lens of healthcare only because they don't get tech. Should be supported by tech analysts. Yeah, well, I think the other thing too, though, is that while the tech is working, and while there's data that backs up that the tech is actually working, and the MCR is actually lower with, the lives under management that are being, treated by Clover AI, but I think the tech needs to expand. It needs to get out. It needs to get out there more. Like right now, to my knowledge, and I could be wrong, only CLOV is using the Clover Assistant, which doesn't make this a tech company yet. I hope that makes sense. In order for it to be a tech company and a software as a service and be seen as that, we would want to see other health insurance providers start paying CLOV to use that tech. Now it becomes a technology company. Otherwise, and that's just my way of looking at it. Like, I see the future. CLOV sees the future. I mean, they brought in, they're bringing in people on the tech side and everybody else. But at some point, when they start letting other insurance providers, pay them, and they start, leasing out this technology, now it becomes software as a service. Now it becomes a technology company. Right now, they just have like this proprietary software that they're using internally. So that's why, I think you're probably not getting the technical side, the tech side, not technical, but technology side of the analysis. So it'll get there though. And when that happens, the stock's going to explode. Again, just my opinion. Unusual suspects. Thank you, Scotty. I don't know why I couldn't. It's because I haven't finished my cup of coffee today. A couple of you guys are saying usual suspects. Usual suspects. There we go. All right. Oh, everybody's saying it. About utilization, what I meant is that the borrowed share does not equal to a shorted share. The entity that borrowed the shares may short them or may not hold them. Yeah, no, you're absolutely right in that too. So, and that's so like a couple things. Let's say I borrow 1,000 or 100,000 shares. I have I got a couple options, but I could sell them into the market to create downward pressure, which we see a lot with shorting. I can also go put them over here as sell orders, which is those sell walls we see, right? I could kind of strategically say, okay, I'm going to put up a 10,000 share wall here at 790, and then I'm going to come down here at 810 and put up 30,000, and kind of strategically put it there too to make it harder for the stock to move forward. That's also considered shorting too. But when I put that up, like let's say this 30,000, okay, I still have those shares, right? Because no one bought these yet. So this is sitting on the level 2. It's sitting in the order book at 810. But if no one ever buys through and buys up those shares, I still have them. I never opened up a short position. And I could return those back too at the end of the day, or I could hold them longer and wait to sell them into the market or whatever. So you're absolutely right. Like when someone borrows, let's say 1,000,000 shares or 100,000 shares, they're taking possession of them temporarily, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they use them. And you're absolutely correct in that. Your pal says, "Did somebody slip you some decaf coffee today?" Nah, I don't know. I'm just tired. I did stay up a little bit later than normal last night. Not too much later, but yeah, I just seem to be dragging a little bit this morning. All right, market looks like it's getting ready to open in 2 minutes. My watch list for today, for anyone who missed earlier, was ZIVO, CAPR, AEHR, and then I was going to continue to keep watching ATER because I think that this one still has some potential, and also IRNT just because I like the data that Ortex is showing. Real quick, see if anything else popped up on the scanner, and it doesn't appear so. Although TMC's up here now and ATER, so we talked about TMC running a little bit earlier. Yeah, so that could be one to maybe check out too if you're looking for some day trade opportunities. Um, but we are approaching the open right now. OC Hitter says Sava. Yeah. Oh, that bell was loud today. Probably woke up my family. Um, yeah, Sava. So the other day when Sava was popping, um, I haven't. I don't. I've never. I don't really invest in Sava, so to speak, but I always keep an eye on it because AVXL is a play of mine, and so the other day when Sava started running, I actually jumped back into AVXL after I had cut it. Um, I was just cutting it temporarily with the rest of my portfolio, a lot of my other long-term positions because of the market drawback. And I got back in AVXL because of that. And sure enough, AVXL ran like 10%, I think, yesterday. But I haven't been watching Sava. Let me take a look at it real quick and just see what's going on there. So it ran up to 68 that day in pre-market and doesn't look like much. Yesterday it had a decent day. Looks like ATER is running right now. along with CLOV and some other ones. I'm going to turn on a 1 minute chart here just so I could look for some entry points on this one. Couple stocks here moving this morning. CLOV had a nice big wick. We'll go 1 minute here too. There we go. And all right. So it looks like yeah, I don't know. I'm not jumping in on ATER anytime soon. This is still the opening range. You know, you can always jump in on this thinking it's ready to break out, and all of a sudden it kind of falls back. I'd rather see where this opening 5 minute candle goes. Let it kind of establish itself. Now, if all of a sudden ATER starts breaking, you know, it's already looks to be above yesterday's highs. I mean, I'm sorry, yesterday's close right here. I don't know. I'm not ready yet to jump in this one. I feel like I've made enough so far that I don't want to get greedy. I really want to see where this first 5 minutes plays out. Just getting some of these set up so I could start watching them. All right. Let's see here. JG says, thank you for your stream. Thanks for joining me. That says more coffee. Shamath CNBC event September 29th. Do you have access to that event with CNBC? Should be a good interview. Yeah, I'll check it out. If it's on CNBC, I'm sure I could throw it on. The 29th is what, next Wednesday? Says Ortex had it on their alert today for a few squeeze signals. Is there a I haven't even I have all this software and subscriptions and stuff, and I know I'm not using them you know, precisely, or I guess the way that I'm supposed to. Is there a short list for Ortex, like where you could just say like, okay, what are the top short plays right now? Something like that. Kind of like how Fintel has. If anybody knows that's got it, let me know. I'd love to check it out. Just always looking for data and you know, ways to come across it and find it. But let me see. Kaiser says looking for early retirement opportunities. Me too. That's what I'm banking on is you know, hitting big on one of these and you know, but it's just, you know, early retirement, man. That's I know this has nothing to do with stocks, but you know, it's like even if you make enough money in the stock market for a year or two's worth of salary or something, there's still way more to it than that. At least for me, I mean, it's like you got health insurance for your, you know, the whole family, retirement. You still want like, you know, some money to fall back on, all that kind of stuff. So it's, you know, for me, you know, in order for myself and my wife to kind of be able to really, really retire and say, okay, we can both quit our jobs, I would want to, easily have maybe 10 times, 10 years worth, you know, and then be safe enough to be able to say, okay, we're going to put that aside, and then I still have some money to trade with and make some more. That's my goal, is kind of take what the two of us bring in right now and be able to 10 times that and put that away and not be dependent on it and just kind of live off that and be able to, have the health coverage and everything else and the benefits and all that. Um, and then be able to sit here and still trade. And I'm not at that point yet. That's why I still go to work every day. But at some point, that's my plan. TN says thanks, Coach, for sticking on CLOV and YouTube for us. Yeah, no, I this is fun for me. It really is. I get bored too, and that's why again. One of the funnest things that happened was me kind of cashing a lot of my long-term positions and starting to day trade. I've been having a lot of fun doing that right now, and I started doing these little scans in the morning and everything else, and it's kind of made it more not as boring. Um, but I'm just having fun doing it, and this actually keeps me more into the stock too, and not as frustrated as just sitting here and being able to talk about it, and it just strengthens my conviction in it. Even though, I guess the I run into people sometimes that do watch this channel, and they're like, hey man, are you still in CLOV? I haven't seen you make a video in a while. And that's kind of the downside of it, is I used to make videos, like 3 or 4 videos a week. I just been busy, uh, you know and it's been kind of hard to stay on top of it. And there hasn't really been a lot of new information. There hasn't. But I'll get back to it. I know I missed the weekly video last week, the weekly update. So I'll probably put one out today or tomorrow, once the market closes. Because I always kind of tend to forget, like, we have this stream here in the morning. Maybe 100 to 200 people will end up watching the stream. But there's still so many other people that used to watch the daily updates or the weekly updates to get their information about CLOV. And the last thing I want is people thinking that, like, the play's over, because for me it's not. It's far from over. I mean, it's again been nothing but good news in this stock for months now, and we're still getting a tremendous opportunity to buy in this $8 range. I'm logged in and I clicked trading signals and it got some daily alerts. Okay. Let me see. Trading signals. I've never looked in this area of Vortex. They got Sava in there as a short squeeze. Huh. Well, now I'm intrigued. You just taught me a whole brand new tool I'm going to start looking at. And I got to take the time to really look through this stuff. Yeah, that's something I'm going to be looking at later on. But let me pull up Sava real quick, because Sava's a company that runs when it starts moving. And we just saw it run a little bit the other day, but that could just be the start of their next big explosive move. It looks like Sava has 32% short interest. Low cost to borrow right now with high utilization. Shares on loan is 13 million. I kind of like it. I'm gonna do. Thank you for that, OC. I'm gonna take a look at this today and kind of play around with this Ortex stuff and Trady Ticks. There's so much in Trady Ticks I haven't looked through, but to be paying for both of these and You know, there's so many tools and so many like things that are part of it besides just this short interest side that I keep going to and looking at and what I'm using it for. Probably should take advantage of the subscription. There's probably a lot of overlap between the two too. Um, Pat says early retirement for me is going to be just enough passive income to match my current expenses. Um, 1 second, guys. Um, all right. Let's see. So I just remembered that I'm over here dragging. Haven't had a lot of coffee this morning, and there's one thing that normally wakes me up on Fridays. Um, so we should. Octaviano, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. What's going on? Um, let's see. Ross Lowe says, "Can you look at BLNK?" Yeah, let's check it out real quick. Okay, so looking at the daily chart here, and I don't know much about this stock, Ross. I mean, it looks like it had this huge run of almost 10 times back in January. And it kind of just seems like it's in a, consolidating phase, kind of like we've been seeing with some of these other stocks. I mean, I don't know when your $45 strike expires. That's still about a 50% gain from where you're at. If you have time, I think that, once this thing breaks out, maybe it'll make this run up to 45 and go test the 65, but who knows how long. I don't know enough about the company to know if it's got some potential catalyst coming around the corner. This does look like a very, kind of, one of those plays where, it's trading 50% lower than its all-time high. And if there's nothing negative going on with the company, that potentially it'll have the ability to start working its way back. This might be a good dip time to buy, but again, I don't know how much time you got left in that strike. All right, so we got oh, let's see here. Um, Gunslinger says, in my opinion, when I make money in the stock market, put it aside and invest in real estate. Yep. No, I agree. I agree with you 100% there too. Um, that's kind of been something that we've been talking about for a while. A couple buddies of mine, and just, kind of like on that next. I've been kind of doing this all wrong too, because I've been making money in the stock market, and just I don't want to say doing it wrong, but putting it into the backyard, putting it into the house, like putting it into not necessarily more investments that are gonna make more money, just more investing into myself. And my next big thing that we've been talking about is to kind of venture into the real estate side. Like next time I pull a chunk out, put it into something that's going to generate passive income. And that's really what I've been trying to look into as well, is probably getting into, um, multi-unit properties and things of that nature. Um, and eventually kind of like the Airbnb VRBO vacation rental. I'd love to own some properties in places I love to vacation at, rent them out throughout the year, and then when I want to go, I have somewhere to go visit, and still be able to generate that passive income. So I think you're absolutely correct on that, Gunslinger. That's what I'm looking to get into next. Um, All right. It looks like we got the my Friday pick me up. Let's see here. Let me get this going. Give me a thumbs up if you're ready to come on. All right. So here we go. It's Friday. Everybody knows what that means. Let's see here. There we go. I think you're live, bro. You there?
Good morning, good morning, good morning. What's up?
What's up? Scotty's in the house. What's going on?
How we doing this morning?
Shit, I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Let me get this down real quick.
I heard you talking obviously about the ATER this morning, and I was saying on the little Twitter video that I put up this morning. I hope your profits didn't get aided.
Oh no, not at all, man. I exited out of the long term hold. Actually, I got forced out because I put a stop loss on it. So I got exited out of that yesterday, right at the open, and I already had a profit from the or the night before when I kind of took half profit. So
Yeah, I heard you say that's great. That's great. That's good. No, I was watching it, man. I have no interest. I mean, no vested interest in it, but I was thinking about you, bro, and I was like, oh man, I hope Coach was able to get out. I see this thing really kind of getting low, so that's
yeah,
good to know, man. That's good, good, and definitely enjoyed the NFL this week.
yeah. We're
Playing limits.
Ghost is kicking my ass right now.
But not in the suicide pool. He's not now.
Oh no, he's out. He got knocked out last week. Are you still in?
Oh, I'm in, bro. I'm 2-0. I'm looking to go 3-0 this week.
I still haven't
Keep
made my
going.
pick yet. I haven't done enough. Like, I mean, obviously we talked about it on Monday night, what picks we liked and everything, but it's so hard because you don't want to pick like the game that really stands out because then you can't use that team anymore, right? So it's like, so I still haven't decided who my pick was yet. I know who I've used already. Who have you taken already? Do you know?
I took Carolina week 1, which was a winner, and who did I take last week? I'm trying to take teams that are not necessarily
Yeah, you
like
don't want to use up the
right,
good ones.
right. Yeah. Well, I did last week. I used Buffalo,
Okay,
but
so
I think I had to.
I
Uh,
took the Buccaneers in week 1. I wasn't expecting them to be as awesome as they are, so I can't use the
oh
Bucks
yeah.
anymore. And then I took the Browns last week. So I'm 2
I
and
was
0
going
as
to take the
well.
Browns last week. I didn't do it though. I took the Bills. I took the
So
Bills.
yeah, so I still have everybody else available. I wanted to take Carolina last night. I just wasn't I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I didn't get my picks in time. So
I actually, you know, I was talking to my buddies. I was gonna put a couple shekels on Houston on the money line. Not that I thought that they were gonna win. It was just that I think people are discrediting them a lot more than I don't think they're as bad as people are trying to make them out to be. Houston, you
yeah, and
know.
there that money line, being 8 points. Like I think if I was gonna bet that game last night, I probably would have took Houston plus 8. Like I just always look for like value opportunities,
Right?
right?
Yeah, it's good value. Good
Yeah,
value.
and when you're looking at that, and I mean, that money line would have been a good play yesterday too. I feel like and to me, with sports gambling and even shit, the same way that I play some of my like more riskier options plays, it's kind of the same
Mm.
way. Like I really, when I talk about like the gamma squeezes that I play, if you're looking, it's almost like if you were to money line Houston last night and you look for those value plays and go in and money line those, you're going to end up hitting a couple of them. And when you do, you're getting paid off plus 300,
Oh
or
yeah.
plus 275, and it makes up for the 2 times that you lost,
Yep.
and that's how you stay ahead. Um,
You got to be able to locate, find, and target those plays though, because my one buddy's just like a fool. He throws like he does dollar bets, but it's just foolish. It's like, dude, if you want to throw dollars out the window, come to my window, throw them in my window, throw it all day long, bro. Just Stop wasting your money on foolishness. 10-game parlays that got like ridiculous things in it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Look, you want to hold a lottery ticket? I'll go buy you 10 lottery tickets at the store. You can hold them. Just give me your money.
Nah, absolutely. Um, let's see here. I'm just looking through the chat real quick.
Yeah. I'm getting ready. I'm getting thirsty. I'm getting thirsty. I'm gonna look at the clove, and then I'm gonna really get thirsty. I think. Oh yeah, I'm thirsty now.
So real quick, I want to answer this. So, Chief Keef, I know exactly what you're talking about. The direct registering shares. I don't know what effect that has. I honestly, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing or a good thing or anything. And so basically, what's happening is in the GameStop community, what a lot of people are doing is because the idea is that with all the naked shorting going on, that there's way more shares in existence than there's supposed to be. Does that make sense? So let's say, the total
Right.
float of a stock is like 10 million, right? I'll just use that as an easy example, and we all buy up all the shares, but because there's naked shorting go on, we all actually own 20 million shares. Well, there's only supposed to be 10 million out there. So the idea behind it is if everybody goes in and direct registers their shares, it'll actually be on the books that like, hey, retail owns so much of the float and owns so many more. The problem with that is there's twofold, right? If you direct register your shares, I believe that it's going to take you longer to sell. So in the event of a squeeze, I think it takes a little bit longer. I could be incorrect on that. Two, it's one of those things that only works if like everybody does it, right? And so
Right. Yeah.
I'm not saying that it's a bad idea. I just don't know what effect it's going to have. I think so. GameStop community's been getting after it for I think over a couple months now. So it kind of be a good, interesting case study to see how it works if all of a sudden something comes of it. But I don't necessarily know that it's something that's going to make a huge, significant difference in what's going on with Clove. I think that Clove will take off at some point, and we'll all get rich off it. And I don't think we have to register our shares in a certain area
It's
to do
just
it. I could be wrong.
it's the same song that you and the rest of the people have been singing for months. The manipulation is just that's on this stock and a few others in particular. It's just really, really, it puts all conventional wisdom and thoughts and theory kind of out the window. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And now it's kind of like, even when you got some of the best and greatest minds on it, they don't even know what to make of it. So it's just kind of like you're in and you're holding and you're along for the ride and buy the dips, as they say. And it's what it is. You know what I mean? We sing it and we preach it and we say it all the time and sing the song of the fundamentals and the AI and the good. Look, it doesn't need to be said anymore. It's beating a dead horse. It's just it is what it is, and you gotta live it, love it, be happy with it. And if you want to be in, and if you want to be out, and by that token, look, just if you're gonna hold it there, let it hold, wait for shit to happen one way or the other, whether it's 5 years from now with the growth, or whether it's the squeeze that may or may not be inevitable, right?
Yep.
And be happy with it and get more money and put it elsewhere if you want to. You know what I mean? But this,
Absolutely.
that's just how that's where I'm at with it. You know what I mean, coach?
Hell yeah. So you ready?
I'm ready to rip, man. I mean, I got a real gross one here, bro. This is really gross. It's absolute juice. Another one of these absolute juices, but I got a strawberry one this time. I think last time I had like a peach one or something or a watermelon. This is sure to be nasty. All right. So
Hold on, hold on, hold on. I gotta
you have
get gotta
water?
get I gotta get my water ready. Hold on.
All right.
All
Coach
right,
getting a nice water.
all right,
Getting yeah,
yep.
gotta hydrate here in the morning. Hey, salute. Hey, clove for green today. Green day. We're hoping for a green day. Let's give it a rip. Mm, nasty. Nasty. Oh, that's nasty. Oh,
Oh man.
whatever you had was way better, I'm sure. Well, that's a phone. Somebody's calling me from California, Coach.
No shit. All right.
I don't know who it is though. It's probably a junk call. Oh,
We got anyone who's got the shot glasses, make sure you throw those
oh,
in the chat for or they're not the shot, they're not shot glasses, the little shot bottles. I put the
yeah.
shot bottles or an emoji on there just for Fridays if anyone's in there that's got access to them.
Some
There we
guy was
go.
upset
Webbistics is
at
coming
my
through with them.
Twitter this morning, Coach. Some guy was upset.
About
He, I think he thought I was trying to like pump CLOV and shit on ATER. But
uh
I said to him, I brushed it off. I said, hey, you must be a new fan because you obviously don't know what's going on here. I'm not pumping or shilling anything. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. No, you know what? That's the one thing, like, and I remember seeing it so much, like, when shit, I've been in GameStop for a long time, and when AMC started like growing community wise, a lot of people in GameStop were like, "Oh, AMC's a distraction," and blah blah blah, and this and that, and um, and then when when our community, our subreddit, and everything started growing, we were getting a ton of people talking shit that oh, it's just a distraction, and it's like people got to realize there's so much money to be made in the markets. You know what I mean? And I think everybody takes it in that way. And there's this weird mindset that, like, you know what I mean? And even now,
Yeah,
same thing. Like, you go on there and you tag ATER, and there's people who are in ATER, and then you're mentioning another ticker. It's like they're almost think you're trying to pull people away from their ticker or something. And it's just like,
yeah,
it's very weird in that I don't remember the market or like social media and financial social media, I should say, being this way prior to this year. Like, this year has been so
oh yeah, it's
crazy.
wild. Wild.
It's just different, and I think that once some of these squeeze plays pan out, and some of them, who knows, like, what's gonna happen with them. But I think once they're all said and done, some people who are like new to investing, it's a great opportunity to make money right now, but they're gonna have to reevaluate or kind of relearn how the market works. You know what I mean? Because, like,
Right.
honestly, typically with me, like CLOV, for instance, if I wasn't so bought into the fundamentals of this, when it was dropping from like 12 to 11, I probably would have just cut and been out, and wait for the next breakout, kind of like I'm doing with ATER right now or whatever. But, fundamentally, I'm bought into this play and the long term potential of it and everything else. So I continue to buy up the dips. But, from a trading perspective, if you use that mindset, like, in every stock you get into, you're going to end up getting killed. You know what I
Sure.
mean? Because you're
Yeah.
just going to, come in and buy ATER at $20 and just say, oh, this is worth it, and hold it all the way back down to 11. You're down 50%, and
Right.
then,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden, get into TMC and buy it at 10, and, oh, I'm just going to hold this forever and hold it down to 5. And then, that mindset isn't really the mindset for typical, years in trading. Right now, you got a lot of
Right.
squeeze plays and it'll pan out, but I think it's gonna play out a little. You know what I mean? It just, once all
Sure.
this
No,
kind of
it's like
blows
chasing
over.
the dragon, but in reverse.
Yeah, yeah.
You
I
know what
hope
I
that
mean?
makes sense. Well,
Yeah,
hey,
it
it's
makes
it's
sense.
uh it's 7 o'clock, man. I'm gonna sign off here, but Scotty, you wanna take us out? Go ahead and
Yo, I'll take us out with one more, man. For again, I'm home for a green day because the last time I just did this, people were saying that we had a green candle. I'm gonna take this. It's got a green cap. I'm gonna take green thing all day. Another nasty one, watermelon vodka stuff. We're gonna give it a rip. Nasty.
oh man.
Coach, have a great weekend, brother.
All right, you too, man.
Everybody else, have a great day. I'll catch you guys later on. Discords, Twitters, all that stuff. Any Twitter Spaces. I'll catch everybody later. Have a good weekend. Coach, keep doing the thing, bro.
All right,
Take
check you
care.
guys later. Thank you everyone for
Be
joining. See you
well.
next week.